Our words can create incredible stress. One of the most famous proverbs of all is Proverbs 15:1, and it tells us why this happens. It says, "A gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger." What do we usually do when someone says something harsh to us? The first response is for me to grab the spoon and to stir that angry response with answer back to them that has some anger in it. And then someone else grabs that and they stir that a little bit more, and pretty soon everybody's in that pot and stirring it until it's just a terrible, terrible experience. And yet the Bible says there's an answer. It says a gentle answer stops the stirring. It turns away wrath. The word gentle here means able to be honest enough about yourself to admit, you ready? Maybe you were at fault. It means I've got enough humility to say that I was wrong. We need to check our words. And we have to check our words like that little word, yes. Have you noticed how much stress it can bring into your life? You're at work and all of a sudden someone comes up to you and says, "We can hold the Canada Day party for 60 people at your house this year, right? Tomorrow." You know, stress. Can you get that 30-day project done in 10 days? And you want to impress the boss and show everybody that you are superhuman, and you go, yes. But you're stressed inside. Friends, we've got to draw the line somewhere. You can't say yes to everything. Yet sometimes because we want to impress people, and sometimes because we haven't learned to say no, and sometimes because we feel inadequate, and sometimes because we want to show people we are Superman or Superwoman, we say yes to everything we can. And because of that, the stresses pile up and up. What is the one decision that you and I can make that will dramatically reduce the stress load in our lives? See, if you had brought a pen and paper, you could write this down because it's important. 2 words. Keep quiet. Now I say that in the kindest way. I say that to myself as well as to you. When you keep quiet, it drastically reduces the stress. You keep quiet and you listen. You listen to the other person before you start responding. Listen to what it says in the book of James in the New Testament. It says, everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. That's how those steps work. So keep quiet. Don't say yes to everything. Count to 10. Wait a day. Consider before you say yes to anything. Proverbs 17:28 says that people who are wise don't talk a lot. That's one of the signs of wisdom. And I love the way that verse ends. It says, a truly wise person uses few words. You ready? Even fools are thought to be wise when they keep silent. When they keep their mouth shut, they seem intelligent. So for less stress in your life, keep quiet. Check your words. And so the steps for coping with stress are to check your schedule, check your finances, check your words. But at some point, you have to go deeper, and you need to check your heart. You have to ask the question, why do all the strategies for getting rid of stress, all the magazine articles that are written, all the books that are written, why don't they work? They don't work because while practical strategies for dealing with stress are important, we also at some point have to get to the heart of the matter. Proverbs 12:25 says, "An anxious heart weighs a person down." We think if we make some changes, we can get away with the stress. We think if we quit a job or we change our lifestyle, if we move to a new place. But then what happens is the stress slowly creeps back into our lives. Why? Because there are some holes in our heart that allows that stress to come creeping back in. Now, how do I know it's a hole in my heart and not just some practical problem that I need to deal with? If you only have to deal with a problem once, that's a practical problem. If you have to deal with it again and again, that's a heart problem. If you overload your schedule once and you learn a lesson from it and you don't do it again, that's a practical problem. We all make mistakes. But if you overload your schedule again and again and again, and you tell yourself, well, you know, I'm never going to do it again, and what happens? You do it again. There's something going on in your heart, and you have to ask yourself why. One of those reasons is pride. That's the attitude of, I can do it all. Why do we keep overscheduling and overcommitting? I think it's because we really believe that we can do it all. Well, here's a newsflash for you. You and I have limits. God can do everything, and I believe that all of us can do greater things than we can imagine, but we can't do everything. The pride of, I can do it all, leads to that devastating realization, it didn't all get done. And you know the stress that that causes. To deal with stress, you have to deal with this attitude. And when you admit that you will not get everything done, you can start to put first things first. Things about your relationship with God, about your relationship with your family, and then all the other things that you have to do. Notice that order: God, family, and the rest. You focus on those priorities first because you realize, I may not get everything done. And it's a great stress reliever to admit that you have limits. Jesus showed us this. The Bible says that he often went away to a lonely place and he prayed for his ministry. He knew the stresses of life were so great that he needed to take time alone with God, even when there was so much to be done. When was the last time you took some time to be alone before God and with God? And he knew. Jesus knew that everything did not depend on him. He had his purpose, and he did what he was supposed to do. He focused on the important things so that at the end of his life, when he hung upon the cross, he was able to say, it is finished. It is complete. I've done what the Father wanted me to do. Well, you know, I look at that and I think if Jesus recognized that he had his limits, who am I to think that I don't have limits? It's a great stress reliever to let go of pride and to admit, I've got some limits. I'm not right all the time. I'm not going to get everything done. The second reason is envy. That's the attitude of, I can be it all.